But anyhow, so tell me. So like I said, I've never met you other than on Instagram, and I kind of invited you here today because I thought that you just seemed like a decent person. Like I really. I know anybody can do whatever they want.
I'm glad I've come off as decent to you. That's great.
Well, recently I had a guy tell me that I look like a complete psychopath on Instagram, and I was like, okay, well,
wow.
Yeah, I was like, hey, that took a turn real south real quick. So I guess anybody can look like anything to somebody on, social media. But you always have nice things to say. There's a lot of posts that you post that I think are really. Like worth reading and worth looking at, because some people post stuff like me that are just dumb. I just post dumb crap to make people laugh. But I always think that you post like kind of thoughtful, nice things. So
thanks.
I thought I'd invite you here to kind of just see where you're at. Like, what do you do for a living?
Sure. I work for a company called Freeport-McMoRan. They're based out of Phoenix. They're a mining company. They do copper and gold and
interesting.
moly mining. But I do information.
Moly mining?
Molybdenum. I don't know how to pronounce it.
I'm like.
Not that kind of moly, yeah.
I don't know if that's legal.
So I protect their computers from hackers. I work in information security. That's my job, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you're a computer guy. So you're pretty computer savvy. I'm not. I don't know if you noticed that.
I mean, you're pretty technically savvy from what it seems like. You can hook up microphone. I've never hooked up a microphone. I can hook up a microphone.
I can put something like a microphone jack into a jack and go, hey, it works. But yeah, no, other than that, if the computer's not working, then I literally just want to throw it across the room like a monkey and wonder what I can do to make it work. So has that something you've always been into? Is that something because you told me right before we started that you just moved out here. You've only been out here for a really short time, right?
Yeah, I sold my house in Florida last year and moved out here with my 3 boys in January. My parents retired out here from the DC area where I grew up. My brother came to work here out of college, and so I've kind of got as a single dad, I've got a support network here for my parenting. And they've always been kind of tugging at me to get me out of Florida. I quit Disney. I'd come out here to visit enough. I was carrying on a long distance relationship at the time.
Those are hard.
Dating somebody out here.
I am very good at those. As a commitment phobe, long distance relationships work out really well.
Really easy for you, yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of my bag.
And so we actually ended up moving in together in March of last year. Okay. And she had 4 kids, so it was like the Brady Bunch.
A lot of kids.
Yeah, and we've been dating since I want to say like the previous July-ish. We've known each other for a couple years, and it didn't work out. She ended up moving out mid-October, so I was back in like the dating scene, I guess, since that time. And I'm dating somebody now. We're exclusive, and I met her in February, and she's.
Well, that's quick.
She's the bee's knees. Yeah, she's awesome.
So you moved here in January, but you met her in February.
January of last year. I moved here.
Yeah,
I met.
I was like, that's what in my head I was like. I feel like that you said you'd been here at least a year. Okay.
Yeah. So I lived with the then girlfriend from like March through October of last year.
Oh, okay.
Here.
She lived out here?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. And then we split up in October. I started dating. My girlfriend's name is Tiffany, and we met each other in February, and it's been good.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Good deal. So how did you meet her?
Facebook dating.
Facebook? There's a Facebook dating?
So yeah, it's like free. Like you don't have to pay any money like you do for these other sites, right. And it's pretty neat because you can see like.
I've never even heard of it.
If you make your profile, like if you turn on your profile, they have all this extra data that they have available. Like if somebody matches with you, you can see if you have any like Facebook friends in common.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's kind of a good deal.
Or if you're in groups, like if you're in any of the same groups together, you know, it'll tell you. Yeah.
So it can already assess if you have common interests or people that you know.
I think so. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that's a new one. I haven't heard that one.
Well, I mean, you're not actively dating, so it makes sense you wouldn't know about it.
So is it new?
I just barely heard about it. Yeah, I mean, like I'd been on Bumble before and Tinder and.
Which one of those did you have the most luck on?
I would say like most of them were about the same. I lost like 150 pounds. Like I had weight loss surgery, and like I've never been perceived by the world like I am now, and so it was a really interesting experience being single. I don't know. I got equal. Like I was on Hinge. I tried Hinge. I tried Bumble. I tried Tinder.
I never had any luck with Hinge.
No.
I don't know why. I felt like it was very like whitewashed, and I felt like everybody was very filtered on Hinge, and I never trusted it. I'm like, no way this person looks this good. I'm like, give me Tinder. I want to see the crappiest pictures you have. Don't give me the whitewashed Instagram crap. Like, I want to see, give me the grainy, I just took the selfie, no filter. That's what I want to see.
I had to crop 3 people out of this picture to post it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I just scribbled. You met Tiffany through Facebook. You should have brought her today. If I would have known, I would have been like, I could have interviewed. Maybe I can interview her next and see what she thinks. Did you tell her you were coming here for this?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So does she have kids?
She's got 2. Yeah.
2. Mm-hmm. And how old are her kids?
She's got a 5-year-old and 9, 10-year-old.
Okay,
yeah.
so somebody who's kind of little, because you said you've got your 3 boys, but they're all teenage.
Yeah, mine are 13, 14, and 16 right now.
Oh, they're really close in age. Wow. Do they all get along pretty good?
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they're good kids.
How did they do with the move? That's really hard ages to move kids. I moved around a lot when I was a kid, like I kind of mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So that 9th grade year is kind of okay because everybody's transferring schools anyhow, but once you get into the high school realm,
it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard to like remake friends and kind of connect with people.
Yeah, so it was a little bit rough to say the least, but mainly because I've had primary custody of my kids since like 2013. I got divorced in 11 and got primary custody of them in 13. And their mom tried to make a play at custody, coinciding with the move. Like there was going to be a major change and shakeup in their lives. And unfortunately, we've been kind of still dealing with the repercussions of all of that.
Well, obviously, you kind of won that battle because you're here with them.
I mean, it's ongoing, yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's not really any winners in that kind of situation, really unfortunately. It's like the kids always pay the highest price, and I wish it wasn't the case, but yeah.
Well, you had to do what you thought was best for your family and what was best for you, and
I mean, you're a parent, you're a single parent, you understand like the dynamics involved in co-parenting and all that stuff. It's not easy.
I'm in a little bit different situation. I get along really well with my ex.
That's good.
Yeah, so we actually live like really close to each other, and literally I stop by his house. We do all of our holidays together.
Oh wow, that's so cute.
Yeah,
that's good for the kids.
It's good for the kids. Actually, it's fine. I prefer it that way. I think that, I mean, it takes a lot of work to do that. It takes a lot of work because, obviously anytime there's a split in a relationship, usually somebody's hurt. Usually somebody's feelings are hurt, and usually somebody's not happy about the split. But we fortunately kind of worked through all that, and
good.
I kind of forced my hand in making sure that everything. I mean, he does a good job of it too, but
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a great mom. I'm a great dad. I mean, you sound like a great mom. Like, I just wish we could collaborate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
now, where does she live? Does she still live?
She lives in rural Idaho.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay, so she wasn't in any of those places anyhow.
Nope.
So, so she kind of wasn't 100% there, like in the aspect of daily life stuff, right?
No. So, our former custody arrangement, when we got divorced, the kids lived with her, and I would have them during the summertime because we were so far apart. And it wasn't a good arrangement, and so we flip-flopped it after a couple years, and the boys have had a lot of stability in their lives, but it's just not one of those situations where I've come to have to accept it. I don't think we're ever gonna get along to the point that we need to.
That's hard. It's hard. It's relationships are hard. There's always a lot of pride on the line, and there's always a lot of feelings, and sometimes it's hard to kind of get beyond those, and for whatever reason. But anyhow, I mean, you move on and you do the best you can as a parent. You try to make the best decisions you can in the situation you're at. And it sounds like things are going really well. Yeah,
so dating as a parent, I mean, has a bunch of, I don't know, there's a bunch of idiosyncrasies to it, like makes it a pretty unique situation. But what's great is that a lot of people, like, in our situation also have kids. So I feel like I'm not unique.
Yeah, I feel like once you get past a certain age, most people have kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, most people have those relationships. Most people have already been married past 30s. Mm-hmm. Once you're in your 30s, it's like you've already done that. You've already had kids, been married, usually.
Yeah.
I dated a couple guys without kids, and it's always a little bit different. Like, they're cool, but things are never quite just the same. They get it, but not really. So yeah, it is hard. And like I said, I haven't been dating much at all anymore, just because I've been too focused on some other things. But so how many dates did you go on with Tiffany before you just were like, this is working, I like this? Let me back up before I even get into that question. So once you were single again, how long before you just start dating again?
My therapist really wanted me to like wait for like 6 months at a bare minimum. And then she's like, and then when you date, you know, you should be dating somebody exclusively for 90 days before you even think about introducing them to your kids. And it's like, yeah, that's all really pie in the sky type of stuff. I mean, like, I kind of just wanted to like open myself up to what the universe brought. Like, I wanted to manifest things into reality and then accept when, you know, stuff happened and just go with the flow.
So you weren't you didn't want to make like these hard rules for yourself.
Like, I understood them as guidelines and best case scenario, you know, ideal. But life's a balancing act, right? Yeah. Like, I struggled a lot, like, with my mental health towards the end of my last relationship. It was really hard on me, and getting myself back out there and having, you know, women who are interested, like, in matching with me or going out with me. It was good to help me get over things, I guess, to put the past behind me. Yeah. So I know a lot of people take, you know, I took a year off to work on myself, right? Like I've been married twice, and I've had, you know, significant periods of time between those marriages or after those marriages that I was single, and I feel like I know what I'm looking for, and I understand where I'm at with my mental health journey, and I'm working on myself, and I think I bring a lot to the table. I think I have a lot to offer, and I was open to what the universe had in store for me. I didn't want to close myself off to things.
Right. Well, and I think what you just said too is important, of knowing. I think when you're older and you're dating, and you have had those relationships, and you have had kids, you know what it takes to parent. You know what it takes to be in a successful relationship, because you did do that. Yeah. And maybe it failed, but you did have those moments of success, and so you know what that felt like, and you know what it took to get to that. And you also knew what the failure felt like and why it didn't work. I mean, I do definitely agree that helps you build. I mean, you know what you're looking for. You know where the red flags are immediately. You know what's not going to work immediately. Like, you can see something, you're like, not today. Fooled me on that one before. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've had really high standards. Like, when I do go out with people, like, it's pretty easy. Like, I'm pretty open-minded about, like, who I match with. I know that it's never going to be all about looks. Do you know what I mean? Or what somebody says in their profile. Right. I think that the in-person... Because like we talked about earlier, that can be anything. Yeah, anybody can I've seen some people's pictures that I've worked with before, and I've, like, look at them and I'm like, it's not you. That is not what that looks like. It's not what she looks like at all. If people can write what they want, and they can portray themselves to be whatever they want to be on social media. So we know. I think almost everybody has to know at this point. You have to look beyond that and recognize that that's just a quick quip into somebody's life, or clip, I should say, not quip. But yeah, so then you have to really get down to the nuts and bolts of people and see who they really are. Yeah, and I mean, as I dated more, like, it became very apparent to me that really needed to become my strategy, was to have enough small talk to get to the point where there's that trust that exists, that, you know, one of us can propose, hey, let's go grab a coffee, or let's go grab a cocktail or something like that. And so I was kind of like, I feel like that's kind of like the match is the first hurdle, and then the small talk is the next, and then, like, whether people actually meet or whether they want to be serial pen pals. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of that online. People just want to continue to, like, vet. They just want attention and vet and just have. I mean, like how many, like, dozens of conversations are you possibly carrying on with other people, right? Like, because if you're not going on dates, then you're not dating somebody exclusively. You're not really, I don't know,
It doesn't feel like progress.
Yeah,
to me.
it's not. I actually did have a rule when I dated, because I dated for a couple years, and I used to go on dates pretty regularly, and I did have a pretty hard, fast rule of, if you kind of connect with somebody right away, I was like, let's meet. I'm not gonna sit here and chit chat with you for weeks on end, and then you meet and you don't even like that person.
You've got all that sunk cost involved, absolutely, versus just meeting.
Because you get invested in that person, and all of a sudden you're like excited to hear from them, and you're like, woo, this is going so great, and then you meet them and you're like, oh, well.
Yeah.
Moving on. And so, yeah, I actually did develop a big rule about that. I don't like the long meet and greet. Like, I don't like the long chit chat. You do have to chit chat with people. I do think that's important. You have to be able to understand if you have any connection.
There has to be some ability to like compare like the vibe, right? Like how am I vibing? How is she vibing? Like what's the deal? Like, is there any type of compatibility even possible here? I feel like that's kind of the point of the small talk. And then
for sure,
you use the meet in person to confirm the chemistry.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's kind of what I think most people have kind of said. I've never understood like the long. I learned that really quickly on. Don't do the long chit chat, because the likelihood that you're going to want to continue to date this person it's a 50-50 shot. And you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, just get it over with. Go meet, have coffee, have a drink, whatever, and then move on. So you said before, when we kind of start talking, that you had some different religious beliefs previous. So, I'm assuming you weren't drinking.
So yeah, like I told you, I was raised Mormon. I'm 41 years old, and I was pretty active in the Mormon church. Like, I went on a mission to Buenos Aires, Argentina. I would drive. I taught English in Japan after I finished grad school, and we would drive like 3 hours each way every weekend to attend church with like American military branch. But by the time I was 35 years old, I was pretty disillusioned. And I feel like kind of like the wool had been lifted off my eyes, and so I quit. And I think that, it's not going to make people happy, but I think Mormonism is a cult, and I feel like qualified to say that because I was in it.
Listen, I'm not judging on anybody's religion. I do think, but I guess the reason why I brought this up is because I do think that religion plays a big role in who we are as people, and it definitely plays a big role in who we pick as people. I was raised in a very religious household. My dad was a pastor growing up.
Oh, fun.
So I'm crazy.
Were you
nuts.
Evangelical or
no,
like
we
Baptist?
Were Baptist.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. He's like, that's funny.
Baptist pastor's daughter. Wow. Okay.
I know, I'm nuts.
Are you still a disappointment?
Well, my dad has passed away, so I don't think.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I really am not. I don't think that. I don't think my parents thought about it like that. At least I hope they didn't. My mom was probably even more religious than my dad, if that's possible. And I think that it just disappointed her that I have 4 sisters, and none of us really carried on that. Maybe my youngest sister, but I don't even think she goes to church anymore. Like. None of us are real religious. I think, sometimes in those scenarios, when it's so inundated in your life and you're shoved down your throat your entire life, you either succumb or you like back away from it because it's stifling.
I feel like it's our generation thing, like the Gen Xers, millennials, Gen Z. I feel like there's a huge departure going on from religion in general, just organized religion.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. I'm like, religion in general is kind of a dying tradition, especially Catholicism. I think is kind of a dying tradition. There's not a lot of young people who are really into the Catholic Church. Even people who've been raised Catholic by Catholic families and continue to go to church usually do more of a non-denominational. It seems like. And here in Arizona, we have these huge mega churches everywhere. Every other corner, there's a huge mega church and Mormon church.
Or Mormon church, yeah.
It's a mega non-denominational, or it's Mormon. So people go to church, but it's even kind of like I posted that dumb meme about it. It's like, I know so many people who are Sunday worshipers.
And that's the extent of their religious observance,
That's all they do. And they're gonna come together and they'll pull it together on a Sunday to go to church because that makes them feel better. And I'm not judging if that makes you feel better and it makes you feel closer to your person and self, and then so be it. But what I'm trying to even bring that up for is this. So is that difficult for you when you were dating? Did you like see people who had religious beliefs, and was that just such a turnoff? Like, was that hard, or were you open to that?
So I think it falls into like almost part of like a philosophical point of view, right? Like how do you align yourself? Like, what are your core values as a person? And a lot of that has come out. The great political divide that exists now. I feel like religion plays almost directly into that. I mean, people that are religious are typically going to skew one way. And so, yeah, I'm not I don't think I was opposed to dating somebody whose religion was important to them, but it was red flag, highly possible. Do you know what I mean? I'm on alert.
It was an orange flag.
Yeah, I'm on alert for the religious red flags. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, so I would say that I'm a spiritual person. I absolutely believe in a higher power.
Right.
Whether it's like a bearded flying white sky god, I don't know. I tend to doubt that, but
right. I tend to think of it just as not as much as a form at all. It's kind of just everywhere.
Yeah, I think there's some power we're interconnected with.
Yeah, I tend to think of it as just more of an energy field that we're all connected with, and we're all a part of each other. And whether you choose to be connected, that field is kind of up to you. Everybody chooses that along their path, but I that's more my belief system, is that just that we are all energy, and we all go back to energy.
I agree. Yeah.
There's no right or wrong. I mean, as humans, we create right or wrong. But anyhow, I'm not going to get into all that. I'm not going to get into all that right now. That's, but I think it is a unique situation when you, people dating and religion, because some people get super intense about sometimes even not being religious. I've had people it's they get angry about
atheists only.
Yeah, they're and you're but do we have to all believe in the same thing? I don't know. For dating, for your girlfriend now, are you guys pretty much on par? Do you have the same belief system?
I mean, both of our parents believe we're going to hell, so we've got that in common.
Perfect.
I mean, for sure.
Sounds like that's going really well then.
So yeah, we get to poke fun of each other's parents' religiosity a little bit, and that gives us some commonality, I think. But she's also a really spiritual person, and I think that she is highly evolved in a lot of ways that I've never experienced. Sitting across the table from somebody in her position before. There's a lot of emotional maturity and depth there, based on things that she's overcome in her life. And I think that's one of the major things that I've taken away from dating is, where are you at in your self-love and healing journey, right?
That's a big thing.
Yeah, what do you do for self-care? I mean, how do you live your life, independently, and so that you can avoid, falling into codependency traps in a relationship. What is it that you do? Tell me, what kind of life do you live? What are your goals? What do you want to do? Regardless of anybody else and anything else that happens in your life, or anybody else in your life influencing you, what is it that drives you? And I feel that's kind of the moral and ethical foundation that I want to
that you're
attract in
for,
people. Yeah, exactly.
In a relationship. Yeah, I think it's important. I mean, I personally don't feel like you have to be samey in religion. I've known lots of couples that one definitely wants to go to church and believes, where the other one's yeah, you go. Or it doesn't have to be a thing. I have been very into guys that were super religious, and I almost look at it just it's cute. I'm just
it's so precious.
I think that's really cute. That makes you different than other people. You're actually really into it. I like it.
I think it's a good endeavor.
I respect your tenacity to keep believing.
Yeah.
But I also think it is really nice to find somebody who you can actually jive with on a level that you're on, which it sounds like is kind of where you're at, where you almost feel like she's pushing you to be think even more about spirituality, think even more about, do you feel like she pushes you to even think more about like how it all works or how you feel about it? Or is it just kind of like you were already there and you just like that you guys can vibe on it?
Do you know much about attachment theory? Have you read about that?
No.
It's my understanding is the premise that like the sadness and misery that we experience in life becomes of how we allow ourselves to become attached to things or people or outcomes that we expect. And so if you kind of pursue a path of like non-attachment, right? Like, so that like, I mean, you involve yourself with people and things and activities and stuff like that. But as far as like your ability to influence and control situations and others, really you just have to look inward and determine that, you know, I can't control what happens to me or what happens in my life, only how I react to it.
Right.
So that's something I'm striving for, is non-attachment.
Okay. I mean, that sounds very much in what I believe. I just didn't have a name for it like that.
Yeah, there's like whole books written on it, but yeah. So I kind of feel like my late 30s and early 40s have been all about like self-help and self-love and self-care in a lot of ways, and so I value that. Like, you know, somebody sitting across the table from me has also been able to prioritize that in their lives and show, you know, the hardships that they've overcome and how they've come out on the other side of those things better.
Right.
Yeah, that's important to me.
Because you've obviously overcome quite a bit too. You've had a lot of big journeys, it sounds like, which I think is probably what kind of kept me interested in like your, you know, online profile. Is I can tell you've had some, I wasn't really sure what to pin it on, but just from reading what you had, you have a lot of uplifting things that you say. You have a lot of like self-journey quotes. And typically when people are having those self-journey quotes and moments, it's because they've had to experience something that maybe has made them push them into that kind of self-journey discovery. So you're looking, you know, we're all looking for those. And it's funny, me and a friend just had this conversation the other day at work where we were saying like, you know, isn't it funny how you can think everything online is so plastic, but sometimes you're like reading people's quotes and you're just scrolling through and you read a quote and you're like, I needed that today. Like I needed somebody to just say that today. Like, does that happen to you often?
It's actually happened pretty frequently. Yeah. Like on like, not, I don't want to say a regular basis, but
right,
I mean,
but
not infrequent. Like I'll have people like, hey, thank you for sharing this. I really needed to hear this today. And like, I mean, like 99% of the content that I share online goes unnoticed, I think, which is fine. Like, you know, it's just an outlet for me, you know?
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like if I'm able to influence anybody else, like in any way, you know, with a positive spin, I'm about that for sure. Yeah.
So it sounded like, you know, to me, like you had some positive things to say, and I think, you know, you obviously seem like you're on a good path and
Thanks.
Things are kind of working out for you in life. So tell me about like your weight loss journey. Do you mind talking about that?
No problem. Yeah.
So when did you have your surgery? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, no problem. I had surgery in 2017.
Okay. So what prompted that? Was there like some big moment that you just were like, that's it, enough is enough?
So it becomes this like cycle. Like I had other health issues. Like I had really bad like severe obstructive sleep apnea. So like I had to have like a CPAP machine.
Right.
My sleep was still terrible. My mental health was impacted by it. Like we lived in Florida. We had season passes to Universal and Disney. Like there were rides I couldn't go on because I was too fat. Like and
that's got to be very mentally disheartening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, where you're just like, it's okay, I'll just sit over here.
And like as a society, we really judge people who are overweight, you know, for the choices that they're making that support them being overweight, right? Regardless of whether, you know, somebody's super like diety and watching every calorie they intake, and for other health reasons they're bigger. But mine was tended to be mainly about like emotional eating. Like I use food as an outlet, you know, to help me feel better. It was like it's like a constant in my life, right? Like I can always turn to food that tastes delicious to help me feel better when people let me down. And so I decided I was done with it. Like I tried so many different things to lose weight, working out and exercising. And I had a friend who had a lap band, and it failed. Like he had to have revision surgery to have it removed, and he did a gastric sleeve surgery where they take your stomach and they reduce the size of it. and that reduces the amount of the hormone that your body produces that makes you feel hungry.
Okay.
And then it reduces how much you can actually fit inside of you before
Right.
you feel stuffed and like
Right.
I'm gonna be sick if I eat anymore. So that's
Right.
been great. Yeah, I was like 340 pounds at my heaviest,
Okay.
and like before COVID, I was down to like 199, 200-ish.
Right.
And I've gained like 20 pounds since the beginning of the pandemic, and that's been hard.
We all have. You're not the only one on that.
I feel like it's safe
My
being
whole
open about it.
family and I'm like, what else is there to do? All we did was go out and eat ice cream every day.
Mhm.
The whole day, every time. It was like, what do you guys want to do? Nothing's open. Let's go eat ice cream.
Yeah.
So I get it. But it's a constant mental journey, isn't it? Like, isn't it? Do you like, I mean, I am kind of asking, but just from knowing people who have had problems with like other eating disorders,
Mm-hmm.
like it's like, is it constantly in your mind about like your weight? Is it constantly in your mind about like what you're eating?
Yeah, like I've got like baked into like the general anxiety that exists in my life. A
Right.
tremendous portion of that is, you know, am I gonna gain weight? Like, you know, like when I step on the scale, like I don't want to go back to the way that I was before. And so, yeah, like I try and prioritize, you know, protein, veggies and stuff like that. I try and cut down on carbs and sugar and just do the right thing. And then the quantity of food, like the serving sizes surrounding
Do
everything.
you feel like the serving size is like the hardest part?
Not really, because I just can't eat much. Like I'll end up like, I'll have like bread with my
Or
dinner.
before, maybe I should
Yeah.
say. Was that? Do you feel? I feel like in general, Americans, the serving size
Oh my God.
is the biggest challenge. That people always feel like if they go to like a restaurant and they get this small plate of food, they're like, "What is this? This is an hors d'oeuvre, but it's not enough food."
Yeah, like we don't eat for like the nutritional
Yeah.
value
People
anymore.
just eat to get stuffed. I feel like
Exactly.
yeah, which is unhealthy because you're not really supposed to eat till you're like, "Help me, I can't."
Well, and you train yourself to like continue to be hungry. I mean,
Right.
like the more that you eat and stuff yourself, the more that your body is going to produce that hunger
Right.
hormone, and you're just making it rougher on yourself.
Were you a big soda drinker or not too much?
I used to really like Dr. Pepper, but like I always tried to drink diet drinks, but I understand that those, like, even though they're like zero sugar, low calorie, like they're like your body reacts almost the same way to them. So
Right.
I don't know. Like when I lost weight, like I drank a lot of Gatorade. Like it's hard for me to just drink water,
Yeah.
and it's too much effort to flavor the water, right? So like I'll just buy Gatorade.
I buy it flavored. Be flavored. I do too, and it's called wine.
That's how you get your water intake.
Yeah, no, actually, I drink a ton of water. I'm a huge water drinker. I'm kind of a water snob. Like I neurotically like will double filter my water.
You've got like the reverse osmosis system and shit.
I only drink reverse osmosis. Yeah, like, and then sometimes I'll fill my Brita pitcher from the reverse osmosis.
My girlfriend gets so mad if I try and give her water from the bathroom. So pissed off. Like,
Yeah.
like, this is not acceptable.
No, I'm a total water snob. I don't like. I'm like I'd rather drink soda than gross water, and I hate soda. So when you had lost the weight, then after you'd gone through your surgery, were you single at that point?
Yeah, so I didn't know that the divorce statistics for people who have weight loss surgery, especially like my then wife, not the mother of my children, my second wife, she got weight loss surgery around the same time too.
Oh,
And so
okay.
it was
So you guys
very
went through it
transformative
together.
for both of us.
Oh, that is big.
And it broke our marriage, yeah.
Oh.
Like, and it was a good thing in the end. But yeah, like huge like boost to self-esteem, self-confidence goes through the roof. You know what I mean? Like you look
Nice.
better than you've looked in years, and
And so then you're like, but do I really like you? What
yeah,
was the
like
thought process?
I don't know, it is not like a sob story or anything like
Yeah,
that. But
no.
like she definitely fell out of love with me.
Okay.
Yeah, like she had a hard time justifying like continuing forward and staying, and
Okay.
she wasn't finding what she needed to be happy, and I need to respect her journey. So yeah.
But as you mentioned, in the end, now you're thriving and you have found somebody that you really, really are connecting with. And
Yeah, I mean, I'm like 3 months into it. No, 4 months. 4 months. Oh, I think we've been like, we met on the full moon in February.
Oh, I like how you even knew it was a full moon.
Yeah, she's like really like she's
into it.
She's a chaos witch. Yeah, she's like into like I didn't even know moon water was. Do you know about moon water? Have you heard about moon water?
What's moon water?
Oh, it's a thing. Like apparently, like you can like leave your water out at night and like let the moon charge it. It's not for drinking. Like it's like for,
Okay, I was gonna say like because that just sounds like mosquito water to me.
No, like in a bottle. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I'm like, no, I could never do. I just got done saying about water style. I think that sounds like it's gonna be full of bugs.
I have like 10 houseplants.
Or my cat would have been drinking out of it, and he would have been like, "What? That's not mine."
So I'm familiar now with moon water, and
okay.
like I'm learning about like astrological signs and stuff like that, and Mercury in retrograde, and like
I know a little bit about that stuff. I haven't had the energy to get too that far into it, like the retrograde stuff. I'm like, I don't really know what that means. Let's be honest, but I do think it's fun to dabble in. I think it's fun to like. I always like to ask people, "What's your sign? What's your sign?"
Yeah, I'm an Aries.
Aries. Okay, see, I don't know much about Aries.
How about you? What's yours?
Capricorn. We just work a lot.
I just look at like my sign and the person that like I'm like wondering about their sign, and like it helps me to understand our compatibility.
Yeah,
like,
I do that a lot too.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I do that a lot.
Like,
actually.
oh shit, these people
I
say
will
that
ask you,
our signs aren't compatible.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If I'm gonna date somebody, I literally will ask you what your sign is. That's a guarantee. And I will look it up. And I will look up the compatibility.
Yep.
It's my little secret.
To inform your yeah.
And I'll even look up the day. I have the birthday book, and I'll be like, God, what is this person gonna be like?
But sometimes it's really mixed messages though. You'll be like looking at compatibility, like you guys are gonna fight like crazy, but the sex is gonna be amazing. It's like, oh well, fuck, like.
Yeah. Is it worth it? Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fun to dabble in. I love looking at it. I don't know if I would completely like not date somebody just because they were a sign that didn't work for me. If they were a Sagittarius and I was like, gosh, I don't know about a Sagittarius. I just, I would probably date them anyhow and just roll the dice. But it is fun to look at. I think it's fun to like just experiment.
Yeah, so I've learned a lot about that.
So what is her sign?
That's a great question. I don't know what her sign is.
When's her birthday?
Like mid-August.
Oh, so she's either a Leo. I bet she's a Leo.
I think she's like right on the border of like
Leo and Virgo.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't even know what order the signs go in. I have to look it up every time. Yeah.
I guess that I know. So, when then dating after you had lost all that weight, did you have like this image in your head? Like, it's got to play a big role of how you view yourself. Because were you always big, like as a child, or did you get bigger just as an adult?
Like I remember being like 180 pounds in 8th grade and being like surprised, like that seems really heavy, you know? And like I've got an 8th grader now who's like 180 pounds, and he's a husky kid, and like I just feel like my childhood wasn't really supportive of like good like eating habits. Like my mom's side of the family like has like the fat genes, and my dad can eat whatever he wants, and like he's got like a metabolism like a hummingbird. Like homie's so skinny.
Yeah, some people do.
Yeah, I mean, like my last girlfriend, I think she was like 5'6", maybe like $120, $130, like, and she could eat whatever she wanted to, like triple cheeseburgers, fries, you know, all the sodas, and like she would never gain any weight. Like, and it was infuriating. But you know, I'm happy for people like that. That's not my experience with you know, with food and like health, but like yeah, I gotta work at it.
Yeah, and of course as you get older then that changes too, but so when you were dating after you had lost all this weight, then was that difficult to like put yourself out there in that way? Like what did you like your expectations of who you were going to be dating? Like you were saying earlier that you got a lot of attention that you maybe weren't expecting.
It was very different going from dating somebody like as being somebody who was like morbidly obese, like super morbidly obese, to somebody who's like almost like not overweight with their BMI, right? Like I have to be 189 pounds. And like I said, I was 180 pounds in 8th grade. So like I was 14 the last time I saw under 190. And I'm 41. So, you know, I've got the dad bod going on for sure.
I mean, you're trim. You've got a good physique. So.
I mean, I appreciate that. Like, but yeah, like it was really interesting to me to see like not having hair. I feel like filters out like a lot of people from my life, right? I've noticed that like, you know, it's not like some people don't think that's the most attractive thing. Like,
interesting.
They want a man with hair. But like being fat was also like a superficial like people weeder outer. Do you know? Does that make sense? Like so, I yes, it opened the floodgates more. Like I had a lot more interest from people, But I found that the people that were interested, like I can tell you, like I dated girls who like would see like old pictures of me and be like, I would have never looked twice at you. Right. And like been like super upfront and open about that. Like as much as
did that hurt your, like, did that kind of like hurt your feelings, or were you just like, or was it just interesting?
It's not that it hurt my feelings, but I think it spoke to me about their character, right? Like who I am hasn't changed from when I was 340 pounds to now that I'm 225, right? Like I'm still the same person, right? Like I manifest to people differently because I'm less overweight, but yeah. So I mean, it made I feel like it made the work harder for me to like weed through people, but yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. It was a good experience.